Willie D. Live.
Over the years, I've been in courtrooms for various reasons, and I've noticed a pattern of white people going into the courtrooms, oftentimes being offered diversion programs. And these are things that I never even knew existed early on in life. I didn't know that diversion programs existed until I got to the money. And so I oftentimes see white people in the court system get offered diversion programs off the top, no matter what they do, besides killing a police officer. They typically get, offered a diversion program just off the rip. But I don't see these diversion programs being offered to first-time offenders or second-time offenders when the offender is black or of another hue. Is there a mandate to offer white defendants diversion programs?
Not that I know of. But one of the reasons why I decided to run for judge is because I saw deficiencies in our system. I'm not going to say what they were, but I saw that there could be some things that we could change. And I knew that there was a way and a path forward where we could actually help people by incorporating everyone in the system. And so when I say everyone, I mean the judge, the defense attorney, as well as the DA. So this is a program I was telling you about that I piloted. So I piloted this docket that we call the Emerging Adult Docket. And it's specifically for people between the ages of 17 and 25. Because one, the 67% of our Harris County jail population, and two, I realized after being in the court system that these are people who cannot do probation, really bond on their own. They need a more intimate judicial intervention to help walk them through whatever they need. So whether that's mental health treatment, whether that's career placement, whether that's just getting a GED or stable housing, what we do is we work with community agencies that already exist here in Harris County, and we just partner them up with our participants. And so they'll have different benchmarks that they'll have to reach. And the way that we work, we partner everybody in the court system is by working with the district attorney's office. So when you talk about diversion programs, the district attorney's office will decide, hey, this is someone who we will offer a pretrial intervention or a pretrial diversion. And just to tell the audience, that diversion just means your case is dismissed. If you successfully complete all of these conditions, your case is dismissed. Why is that important? And people don't realize that sometimes I've been in the middle of a plea in front of me, and I'll say, I see that somebody is never been convicted, has no criminal history. I'm saying, well, why are we doing a deferred adjudication if they don't have any criminal history? Why isn't this somebody y'all are offering a PTI? And that's why, to me, it is important who sits on that bench. Because if you have someone who cares, if you have someone who is not just concerned about numbers and cases being disposed and actually cares about people's lives, I have conversations with people all the time. Is the state going to offer a PTI or a pretrial diversion? And the state will look at the case and say, well, yeah, judge, this is a case we can offer a PTI. That means that this person, they can vote. They don't have, they're not going to be on any sort of community supervision, because just because you're convicted doesn't mean you can't vote. It's only if you're on some sort of supervised release like parole or probation. But it affects, felony convictions affect where you live. They affect what kind of jobs you get. And just because people aren't thinking about that now, they might not even have the capacity to think about it. Like, they're just worried about the right now. How can I get this case over with? So it's just going back to who's on the bench. Like, is this somebody who actually cares about the future for the person who's standing in front of them? So no, there's no mandate. But I think now, like, as we're in a more diverse and colorful judiciary here in Harris County, we are seeing judges who are willing, one, to not just implement programs to help people down the line, but two, getting involved, like, in the capacity that we can, because the state will make a recommendation for punishment. You can decide that you want to accept that recommendation, but you don't have to. You can exercise your right to a jury trial. But even if you do accept, the judge can intervene and say, hey, have you all talked about other options, without forcing people to plead, but have you talked about any other way that this case can resolve where this person's life is not affected for the next 20, 30 years?
Yeah. What prompted you to start this pilot program? do you have some type of is there some type of uh, criteria that you have to meet as a judge to have these
Mm-mm.
type of programs or something, or is this just something that you was just passionate about?
I was passionate about it, and I thought that it, like, who better than the youngest judge to pilot a program to help people within this population. And so no, I didn't have to have any certain criteria, but I did talk to other judges who had done something similar in other counties and in other states. So I started getting ideas of what it was going to look like, because I was kind of overwhelmed with the information at first. It's like, how is this going to look in practice? What's going to be the criteria for the people that we accept? How are we going to decide, like, even if they mess up, because we know they will mess up, what's going to be like their punishment? What sanctions are we going to provide? If they do well, how are we going to reward them throughout the program? And so there's all this study and all this research about these emerging adult dockets that are really kind of like piloting around the country. There's one that was just started in a federal court in some state up north. But there's all this research about this specific population and why it's so important to get them now, as opposed to just offering them a probation, because we know that they're not going to succeed. We know that they're not going to do well. Half the times they don't even know what we're saying. You know, we get into these courtrooms and we say things like deferred adjudication, and they're like, what? What are you talking about? Like, if we don't actually hold these people, hold their hand and tell them this is what you can do to be successful, then we're just setting them up for failure.